I the a-hole for going low contact and skipping my mother-in-law's birthday after how she handled my recent miscarriage? I found some of the messiest drama on Reddit, and we are going to decide if we would forgive them or forget them. I, 35 female, am reaching a breaking point with my in-laws. My husband, 36 male, is supportive and on my side, but my father-in-law is pressuring us to fix things before my mother-in-law's birthday next week. I recently had a miscarriage. When we first announced the pregnancy, my mother-in-law's response wasn't a congratulations. She told us it was, quote, far too early to be saying anything, and claimed we only got pregnant because her other daughter had just announced her pregnancy. She turned our news into a competition. When I lost the pregnancy, she sent a group text with some hugs and hearts emojis. That was it. No phone call, no stopping by, even though they live 1 mile away. A week later, she tried to send me a birthday gift and a cake to, quote, move on. I declined them because the gesture felt hollow after her earlier comments. Now, because I won't accept her kindness, she and father-in-law are calling me ungrateful. This is part of a long pattern. My mother-in-law has always had an issue with me. I can't pinpoint it, and I'm unsure if it's me being ethnic, Christian, or financially independent. She seems to have an issue with all three. Here's a few examples over the years. Number one, at our engagement, 8 years ago, we gifted them our engagement photos for Christmas. She took those photos and put them in a bad Santa game for 20 relatives to mock as a gag gift? Oh, that's wild. My father-in-law tried to take the blame to protect her, but it was humiliating. Next was my dad's funeral. When my father passed away, she called the funeral ostentatious and mocked the cost, telling me she'd rather be put in a cardboard box and burnt than have a service like his at the funeral. Just insane. Both of those stories and those examples are wild.
This is madness. It's madness, I tell you, for the love of God!
When I've called her out on any of these, there's a long list. She says it's how I perceive the situation, that I misconstrue, and that she is sorry that that's how I feel. I've officially left the family group chat. My father-in-law is now begging for family counseling before her birthday next week. I spent 45 minutes pouring my heart out to him about these incidents, and his only response was that her messages come from a place of love and care. He knows the behavior is wrong, but he has spent decades enabling her to keep the peace. My husband and I have decided on going silent for her birthday next week. No text, no card, no happy birthday. My father-in-law says I'm being divisive and ungrateful for the help they've given us in the past. But I feel like I'm finally just setting a boundary. Am I the a-hole for staying silent and skipping her birthday after years of this? I feel like I've finally grown a backbone. Interesting. All right, so far, would you forgive or forget? We do have the update. I think it's impossible. How do you forgive someone who's not even apologizing? She's not taking accountability or apologizing. So as of now, forget. How do I forgive you when you won't even take accountability for how your actions are hurting me? But we have the final update, and it came almost 3 months later, very recently, July 28th, 2026. So we will see how this all wrapped up. So flash forward through 4 months of silence. Right now, they see our 2 kids once a week for daycare. They have begged for this, and my father-in-law almost had a stroke when we tried to stop this arrangement. Note that we can afford daycare. This is just an arrangement that they have asked for, but they have almost zero relationship with us. However, my father-in-law has been pushing hard because he wants things to go back to normal, meaning he wants us to do family dinners, coffee dates, and outings again as a big happy family. My view is that I don't need to have a relationship with them, as they said themselves. I'm not their daughter. Ooh. So they have used that line in the past. Last night, my father-in-law forced his way over to our house to demand his reset. Instead of offering a real apology, he, 1, gave a sarcastic non-apology and said, apparently you're demanding an apology, so here you go. If we hurt your feelings, we're sorry about how it made you feel. I'm not demanding an apology, but my husband is for the way they have treated me. Next, he called us ungrateful for past financial help. This was early inheritance they offered to all of our kids and specifically written up an agreement as their son's share. If anything were to happen between us, I have no rights to the money, which is fine. I'm self-sufficient and my husband and I are independently financially secure through our jobs. And next, he looked me in the eye and said, quote, I know you have deep anxieties and insecurities. He was suggesting that the issue at hand is my issue and my choice, and he will not take accountability. We are currently trying to conceive again, and I refuse to let this toxic dynamic touch my life and my mental health. I've booked an appointment with a psychologist, and I am completely stepping back. I will not host them, go to family dinners with them, or pretend everything is fine just so they get the perks of a happy family. Some extended family members think I should just move on for the sake of peace and stop holding a grudge. Am I the a-hole for completely cutting off my personal relationships with them? My husband has stepped up and supported me, and it's bothering them as their relationship with their son is now severed. Edit. They were supposed to look after the kids tomorrow. My husband called them and told them we were making alternative arrangements indefinitely, particularly after yesterday's lecture. I feel a great sense of relief. I've called daycare and I have arranged the extra day. So it sounds like she's still debating about it, but it does seem like she's leaning towards more of forget. Not just forget about the situation and move on, forget about the relationship kind of thing, you know? Let me know what you guys would decide about this one. Moving on. Next story. My boyfriend. What? My apologies for going from such a serious story to what I'm about to say. My boyfriend farted in my face as a joke in front of our friends. A week later, he still hasn't contacted me. I don't know if I've read a story about a fart, especially a fart in the face. You really never know what you're gonna get on my channel. Variety. All right, my boyfriend, 21 male, and I, 22 female, were hanging out with a group of friends at someone's house. Everyone was joking around, and some of the guys were farting and burping as dumb jokes. I wasn't a fan of it, but I laughed along because everyone else was. I was lying on the floor, and my boyfriend was sitting next to me. He started farting for fun. I looked disgusted, and I told him to stop, but instead, he leaned over and farted directly in my face. Everyone burst out laughing. This feels like what you do when you're siblings. You know, my brother has never farted in my face, but my sisters and I, like, for sure, I would have totally farted in my sister's face growing up. Ah, good times. I immediately yelled at him, pushed him away, hit him in the chest, and I hid under a blanket because I felt completely humiliated. People kept laughing and saying things like, he farted in his girlfriend's face. What hurt me the most was that my boyfriend was laughing too. He tried to hug me and called me babe right when he saw that I hid under the blanket, but I pushed him away again and I went to sit alone in another room. He never came to me to apologize that day. On the drive home, he didn't speak to me at all and he acted like I was the one who had done something wrong for yelling at him in front of everyone. When I got home, I blocked him on the app that we normally talk to. I was so mad because he was giving me the silent treatment the whole time instead of apologizing. He only did it once, and when I pushed him away, he stopped and just never came to me again and acted like I was the one to blame. I didn't block his number or my other social media accounts, so he had plenty of ways to contact me if he really wanted to. I also unfollowed his Instagram too. It's been a week now and we still haven't spoken. He hasn't made a single attempt to contact me. I only had 2 of his friends, and both of them have unfollowed and removed me from Instagram. Less than 4 days after everything happened, he started following 3 new girls and they had private accounts, and they followed him back. Since then, he has continued following more girls, and today I noticed another new one. What? All of this is happening because of fart to the face? I unfollowed and removed him the day we argued, and I can still tell who he's following because they keep showing up in his Instagram suggestions. I honestly feel like I'm dying inside. I've done nothing but cry this entire week, while it feels like he has already moved on and is talking to other girls as if our relationship meant nothing. Until yesterday, I refused to follow any guys because I didn't want to be the kind of person I thought he was becoming. I wanted to respect what we had. But now it feels like, to him, the relationship is completely over and he's never coming back. Part of me wants to start following guys just to see if he would react, but another part of me feels like that would only make me no different from him. I genuinely don't know what to do anymore. I'm completely heartbroken. I can't believe it's over. I just can't. We didn't just have a normal relationship. We were really close and he was my everything. I saw my future with him and he also did. We were just going to celebrate our anniversary next month and invite everyone. How am I supposed to accept this and move on? You know, this feels like a very 20-year-old argument. They're young, they're in their early 20s.
I'm too old for this.
If it was me, a fart to the face in front of my friends, embarrassed, gross, absolutely. But that is not breakup worthy for me personally. I would be able to forgive that and move on from that. I just can't believe that essentially a breakup has happened, we're unfollowing, we're blocking each other, all over a fart. Early 20s, wild. We have the final update. So I guess we're gonna see if this fart really ended this relationship. So I ended up unblocking him and I texted him. All I said was, whatever you're doing, please leave my friends out of it. His response completely destroyed me. He immediately insulted me and my mother and called us very bad names, cursed at me, told me to get lost, called me horrible names, threatened to come to my house and hurt me if I ever contacted him again, and then sent me a photo of him sitting at home with another girl, all over a fart. Oh, thank God I'm not in my early 20s, let me tell you. Actually, I wouldn't mind being that young again. They were cuddling and drinking alcohol together. Right after sending the picture, he blocked me. I was in so much shock that I couldn't even reply. It has been 5 days since that happened and I'm still in complete shock. I keep asking myself, what did I do to deserve this? Why? What happened to all those conversations about our future? What happened to all those memories? How can someone change this much in just a few days? The worst part is, despite everything he did, I still miss him. Part of me still wants to message and ask, why did you do this to me? I didn't deserve this. I know I'll probably never get an honest answer, but I can't stop wondering how someone who once begged me not to leave could become so cruel so quickly. I'm truly at an equal loss with you there on what just happened. There's gotta be more problems in this relationship because if all of this happened over a fart, I don't know what advice I could possibly give, but I would personally be able to have just forgiven the fart. Not all the other BS, but the fart. What am I talking about? Like, this is so wild. What is going on? I need a spin. A spin of positivity, but let's just shake off this fart story. Whoa, I can't handle spins like I used to. Next story. Am I the a-hole for finally supporting my husband's ultimatum to his late wife's parents after they have repeatedly excluded my son? I, 35 female, am in a loving blended family, but the extended family drama is crushing me. I have a wonderful 10-year-old son. My current husband, 32 male, lost his first wife 4 years ago and has a 7-year-old son. We've built a beautiful family of 4. My husband treats both boys exactly the same. I do the same with my stepson, and the boys love each other like real brothers. We are genuinely happy despite everything. The problem is my husband's ex-in-laws, his late wife's parents. They constantly badmouth me and paint me as an evil stepmom, feeding every nasty stereotype, saying I'm mean, neglectful, manipulative, jealous to my husband's parents and anyone who will listen. For example, after my stepson had a minor injury, they said things like, stepmoms can never be real. Why would she even care about him? They accuse me of manipulating my stepson and try to turn everyone against me. Every time they visit, they completely ignore my son. No greetings, no conversation. They bring gifts, toys, chocolates, and sweets only for their biological grandson. When my kind-hearted stepson immediately shares everything with my son, which he always does, they get visibly annoyed and they say things like, why are you sharing that with him? That's only for you. And even try to pull him away. My husband has been solid and always says other people's opinions don't matter. He wanted to set a strong boundary earlier by announcing on my stepson's birthday, if you are family, then you are family to both kids. If that's not possible, you are not family and not invited. I stopped him because I thought a nice talk would work. I've been holding my husband back from taking any harsh steps in order to respect his ex-in-laws as they have lost their daughter. On my stepson's birthday last year, his side of the family showed up with gifts and love. On my son's birthday, almost no one came, and the few who did show up, they showed up empty-handed. Gifts aren't important to us as adults, but to a child, it feels like rejection and it feels like being left out. My son was sad and has started asking me painful questions because of this exclusion, like why they don't like him or what he did wrong, which breaks my heart. I have zero family on my side, so he doesn't have that extended network. His birthday is coming up soon and I'm dreading it. I'd even be happy to buy gifts myself that they could give him if it makes it easier. I just don't want him to feel left out again. Recently, after they left, my son refused to eat chocolates or play with shared toys. He quietly kept everything in his pockets and returned it all to me. That broke me. I'm completely fine with them loving their biological grandson more. That's natural. But the open hostility, exclusion of my son, and constant complaints are painful. Yeah, that breaks my heart a little bit for him. Because you'd be wondering like, oh, but why? Why do they treat me differently? That'd be hard to understand so young.
Why, God, why?
We have an update, so maybe it goes somewhere more positive. The update came 9 days later. My husband's parents came over for dinner. After dinner, they started a conversation about the ultimatum my husband had given them earlier. He had finally sat them down and asked why they blindly believe everything his ex-in-laws say about me. They responded that they have, quote, seen everything with their own eyes and listed their issues with me. That I'm too harsh and casual when talking about their mother's death. For example, saying she passed away or she is deceased instead of using softer words. I'm obviously censoring them because of YouTube. That I'm careless, especially after their grandson had a small injury. That I'm trying to erase his mother's memory. They also accuse me of manipulating my husband about the cat. My stepson wanted a cat, but my husband said no because he felt it would be cruel to bring a pet home when we can't give it proper care and attention. His parents tried to convince him to get one anyway. I didn't even know that they had an argument between him and his parents over the cat. I only knew that he told my stepson no when he asked. Now they're claiming that I manipulated him into refusing. My husband defended me and explained, our therapist specifically recommended we be direct and straightforward about his mother's passing so that my stepson can learn the permanence of death at his age. That's why I use clear wording, not just about his mom, but even when referring to my own late relatives. When my hubby, was a child, he got injured often, but that didn't mean his mother was careless. He asked them, do you think I'm stupid or blind? If my wife was actually doing something wrong, don't you think I would notice? The conversation turned into a big argument, especially over the cat issue. Oh gosh, there's just so many parts to this and it's so very heavy and complex that I don't even know what to say yet. We have another update, so I don't want to give an answer too early because we're having conversations still. The next update came 13 days later. My son turned 11 yesterday. It was better than last year, but still pretty awkward overall. Most of the relatives we invited from my husband's side actually showed up. It was clear they mainly came because they didn't want to upset my husband after the ultimatum. They brought gifts for both boys and stayed polite, but the vibe was very much, we're here to keep the peace rather than genuine warmth. Most of them kept interactions with my son short and surface level while being more natural with my stepson. We also invited my husband's ex-in-laws, but they didn't show up at all, which we expected. After cake and presents, my husband pulled his parents aside for a private chat. He explained more that the therapist's advice about using direct words so that our stepson can properly understand what happened to his mother. He invited them to join us for a therapy session if they wanted. They agreed it made sense and said that they would think about coming. I think that's a great idea. Okay, possible resolution. Before everyone left, my husband and I thanked them all for showing up. We told them sincerely that it meant a lot to us that they came and that they were there for both boys. I'm happy they showed up. I completely understand that my son and stepson are not the same for them. I know that they will always love their biological grandson more. That's natural. I just want basic kindness and inclusion with my son, and yesterday was a step in the right direction. My son had a decent day. He was happy about his gifts and that so many people came this year. He wasn't ignored or left out like before, and he didn't ask any heartbreaking questions. He did notice the difference in how people acted towards him, but he still went to bed smiling. I have to say, my husband has been absolutely amazing through all this. He stayed strong, protected both boys, held the boundary, and made sure our son still felt celebrated. I'm so lucky to have such a wonderful, fair, and protective partner. He really is the rock of our family. It feels like a lot of this is damaged control on their part, but at least my son got to celebrate without feeling rejected. We're keeping the boundary firm and taking the small progress where we can get it. Doesn't end there, you guys, but I'm feeling more positive about this one. I am. I feel like we might have some forgiveness on the way. Let's hope. The final update came 12 days later. Hi everyone. I wasn't planning on making another update, but a lot of people asked what happened after my husband's parents agreed to attend the therapy session with us. Okay. A lot of people asked why my post focused on relatives instead of my son's friends. In my husband's family, birthdays have always been celebrated in two parts. On the child's actual birthday, we have a family celebration with relatives. Then on the following weekend, the birthday child has a separate celebration with their friends. That's the tradition both boys have grown up with and genuinely really enjoy it. People had questions about our relationship timeline. Quite a few people also wondered how long after my husband's first wife passed away did we meet. She had passed away about 1 year and 5 months before we met. We dated for 15 months before getting married, and we've now been married for 16 months. Some people assumed our relationship started immediately after his loss, but that was not the case. Now on to the update. After my son's birthday, my husband's parents came with us to one of our therapy sessions. I honestly expected it to turn into another argument, but it didn't. Our therapist first explained why she had recommended that we use direct words when talking to my stepson instead of softer phrases like passed away, which I do for sensory sake on the channel. She explained that children his age understand the permanence of the matter much better when adults use clear, direct language, and that euphemisms can sometimes be more confusing. She also explained something that I hadn't really thought about before. Because my stepson lost his mother so young, everyone around him naturally wanted to protect him from more pain. Between us, my husband's parents, and his late mother's parents, a lot of adults tried to soften the reality of what happened. The therapist said that while those intentions came from love, constantly shielding a child from direct conversations about someone passing away can make it harder for them to fully understand that what happened is permanent. That was one of the reasons she encouraged us to use the clear language and answer his questions honestly in an age-appropriate way. She emphasized that helping a child understand the permanence of it isn't cruel, it's actually an important part of healthy grieving. She also made it clear that this wasn't something that I had decided on by myself. It was advice we were given in therapy and had been following consistently. My husband's parents admitted they had not known that. They said they genuinely thought that I was just being insensitive. My husband then told his parents something that I think needed to be said. He told them that if they ever have concerns about our younger one or about any parenting decision we make, he wants them to come directly to us instead of making assumptions. He said he'd much rather have an uncomfortable conversation than have people filling in the blanks or believing someone else's version of the event. It was awkward at times. There were quiet moments. After the session, they thanked us and left. No big emotional talk. The session simply ended with everyone understanding each other's perspective a little better than before. Since then, we've noticed small but meaningful changes. I'm glad they came. It feels like a small step, not a big change. We are not expecting miracles. rules. I'm happy with the progress we are making though. I think this is good. I think understanding and different perspectives can heal a lot and we can learn from it. I'm going to say forgive. I think we can progress here in a positive way. I really do. All aboard, it's hydration station time. Let me know what's in your cup. It's water in mine. Cheers. Ignore my washing machine in the background. Look at these cute little cord organizers I got at Dollarama because they match the vibe of the studio space. So I'm gonna use it for all the cords when I film. I just, I get excited over Dollarama things. Next story. My boyfriend of 2 years says I ruined his best friend's party. I have been dating David, 24 male, for 2 years. He lives about 20 minutes away. He has told me he resents the fact my parents paid for my schooling, which is partially true. They cut me a check after I graduated. I worked long hours and I got scholarships and loans to help pay for it. I didn't even know they had a college fund for me. He also said that he hates how spoiled I can be. I moved into my grandmother's house 3 years ago. My mom hates the house, and since it's not the prettiest of homes, she just let me live there. She then signed the house over to me when she moved across the country for work. I have a full-time job with good benefits, and I've worked my butt off to pay my bills, save money, and fix up the house. Most of my spare time is done making the house as nice as possible. I even installed a wood floor myself. David says I don't know how to work hard, but I have 40 to 50 hour weeks and have a high energy job. I have told him the comments were not appreciated and he stopped, but he has made snarky comments a few times. Yeah, you can't date someone who's jealous or envious of you. That person should be your #1 fan. You had a good upbringing. You have parents with money who wanted to pay for your college. Babe, you deserve it. I can't relate to that lifestyle because I didn't have it, but you deserve it. I don't like this whole jealous energy going on.
Don't like that.
I do love David, but sometimes he can get carried away trying to be the life of the party. David asked if he could have some friends over to my house. It was supposed to be a surprise gathering for his friend Mike. It was a cake, some pizza, a few beers, and presents, so it was pretty casual. I knew all the people he was inviting, and he told me that he would clean up. Then he asked if I would go out for the night so that he could have the house to himself. I told him I was not comfortable with that and I didn't want to leave my own home. I asked him why I couldn't be there. He didn't have a real answer and just said he wanted to feel like he had his own place. It was a pretty sketchy reply, and I told him I wanted to socialize with Mike as well. I like beer, I like pizza, and I love cake. David acted like he had the right to think about it. I told him that I was either going to be included or he could find somewhere else to throw the party. He told me I was being controlling. He said that I should trust him. I said, it's my house, my rules, which might have been pretty biatchy to say, but I didn't see why I had to vacate my own home on a Friday and go somewhere when there would be people I liked and who liked me at my house. I knew Mike before I knew David, and we are still good friends. Plus, there were going to be other girls there, so it's not like he wanted just a guy's night. Even then though, I didn't think I needed to leave. He also could do it at his own apartment. I then told him I wanted everyone to leave by 10 p.m. The gathering started at 5 p.m., so I thought that was plenty of time. David got so upset he left the room, but he eventually told me that he would respect my rules, even though I was acting like his mom. He told me he resents that I have to remind him to be an adult. Friday comes and it is fun time. We shoot the shite. There are 8 people in total. Everyone, minus Mike and his wife, leave at around 9:30, 10. Everyone pitches in to clean up. Mike thanks me for the party and his wife is asking if I want to hang out another day. David's phone rings and he answers it. He starts talking like, sure man, and come on in. I hear what sounds like a horn honking and then a car pulling up. I have a gravel driveway so you can hear the rocks crunching, and the lights flashed into the living room. I asked David if he was going somewhere and he sort of just looks guilty. He tells me he invited some guys over and that they were just going to chill for an hour or two. I told him that I did not want more people in my house and that he needed to ask me to invite people over. He snapped and said, I pretty much live here. I have a right to invite people over. Pretty much lives here 2 days a month when he can spend the night. The other times I visit him between work and classes, or we go on late dates. But I usually spend the night at his apartment. It is closer to work. Someone knocked and I told David not to answer the door. I told David he needed to get his friends out of here and to leave. I was done playing host. David ended up calling me a selfish biatch. Well, that's it for me. I already have my decision.
Bye-bye.
Got his things and left. I got a call at 3 a.m. from David asking me to pick him up at his friend's because he was too drunk to drive home. I told him to sleep it off. So David came by on Saturday around noon and proceeded to tell me I ruined his night and he didn't know how he could forgive me for this. He said I was a terrible person for embarrassing everyone like that, and Mike had called to say that he was upset. How could I do that to him? How could I be so selfish? Then he told me, we will live here one day, so you should get used to having my friends over. I told my friend and she said I probably ruined a good time and said I had overreacted. But I don't think I did. I didn't want them there. I had stuff to do in the morning and I didn't want people crashing on my couch or using my house as a whiskey hotel. I am tempted to break up with him over this. Is that a stupid reason? Did I act like a biatch? I am pretty bad at socializing and I'm pretty shy, so I could have been wrong, but I don't feel like I was. Girl, I could not relate to you more. I am so protective over my space and my home that you allowed a party there. You set everyone out by 10 p.m. I thought it was really nice of you to allow him to have his friend's birthday party at your house in the first place. I would probably be in a similar position. And let's not forget, if he wants to have a bender, you want to stay up late with your guys and your friends and have a good time, host it at your apartment. Then you won't even need a ride home at the end of the night. He truly should have just hosted it himself. We have an update though, so let's see where this ended up. I called Mike and I asked him if he spoke with David. He said he did, but that it was for maybe like 5 minutes. They made plans to go golfing, but Mike turned him down because he felt uncomfortable with how David was acting. It was not even about the party. He told me the last time he went out with David, they went to a bar with some of David's work friends, which included a few of the younger girls at work. I have no problem with this, and David did not cheat. The girls, however, were pretty wild and got smashed. David did not want to leave the bar, so we called some friends to pick him up. Then he took Mike over to his friend's house. These were some of the same guys he tried to get over at my house. Mike ended up leaving because they were making crude jokes about Mike's wife and they were smoking MJ. He said the way David treated him made him feel uncomfortable, and the party had been the last straw because David spent the time he wasn't with me complaining about how immature and stupid I was. Mike said we were cool and he would love to hang out with me another time, but he needed to stay away from David. It seemed pretty much to be, if David is still your boyfriend, peace out. I think we know who the problem is here. I ended up inviting 2 friends over for lunch on last Sunday, and we talked about David for almost 3 hours. I told them everything about the party and the way he had been treating me. I repeated some of the things he said, and it all just kind of clicked. I don't want to be with someone who is a total child. I felt oddly liberated thinking that, and my stress just kind of slipped off. I knew at that moment that I wanted nothing to do with him again. I was done, and it was time to end it. I guess deep down, part of me had already been letting go after the party. David ended up texting me while my friends were over, asking if he could borrow my gas card. I've never let him take cards from me to use because I feel like that is asking for trouble, even with people I have known for a long time. I told him he should come by and we can talk about it. My friends insisted on staying to offer moral support, but would be in the next room. Oh my God, I would have my ear pressed into that drywall. Are you kidding me? I get to watch and listen to your breakup. I'm there. It was actually easier than I thought it would be. He came in, asked for the card. I told him it was over. He was not getting the card, and I never wanted to see him again. I told him to keep the $200 he owed me. I didn't need it. He told me he wanted his movies back. I gave them to him, and he left. 2 days later, he texted me and called me about 30 times, asking for me to take him back, saying he needed me, he loved me, he wanted to be with me. I found out that he was late on rent, spent most of his money partying, and that he hoped hoped to borrow it from me. Said I owed him. I blocked his number. He showed up at my house twice, but telling him through the door I would call the police, that made him leave. I have yet to see him again. I'm not sure what's going on in his life, but F him. There is a final update here. It's quick and short. We're gonna get the deets. I do want to know if they ever got back together, because I'm hoping not. It has been a while, and I'm not sure if anyone remembers me, but I wanted to update. David, my ex, got arrested for substance possession and is facing a felony charge. He threw a brick through my window. Oh my God, thank God we read this whole story. I had a 2-week period where he aggressively was stalking me and would follow me to work. Either way, he has been in jail for a long time. I started dating someone else pretty quickly after things had ended and things are going well. My new partner is also like me and likes to go to bed early and wake up early. We spend a lot of time together on the weekends and the time we are apart. He always sends me cute texts and makes sure to remember the small things. I like him a lot better than David. Guess I just wanted to give an update. Well, thank God you did. I was already at forget. I was definitely not forgiving that man, but after hearing the whole thing, we're on the same page, right? Forget. Bye-bye. Enjoy your time in prison. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. I will see you tomorrow.